What up, everybody? Welcome back to Big Red Weekly. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. I'm trying to hit 500 subscribers by the end of the year, so your subscription would definitely mean a lot to me. So let's go over Game 4 of Milwaukee versus the Suns. So I did not make my video last night because I was super tired. I almost didn't even finish the game, so I was not able to make a video last night. I just went straight to bed. And then I just woke up late this morning, so I couldn't make a video this morning. But the game last night, it was kind of up and down. Milwaukee's defense was great, but their offense was a little shaky at times, which was bound to happen because there's just no way that Giannis can keep scoring 40 every game, which he didn't. But regardless of whether or not Giannis scored 40, he's playing like an all-time great in this series. And it's just not debatable. He finished with 28 and like 13, I believe. 26 and 14. My bad, just a little off. 26, 14, 8, 3, 2. I mean, he's all over the stat line everywhere. He was great offensively. He was still his normal self. It's weird to think that, this is just kind of like an average game for him, and he just, this is just what he normally does, 26 and 14. But, obviously compared to the 41 he's been having, this was kind of a down game, but this was by no means a bad game. There's just no way you can sustain scoring 40 every game. But Milwaukee's defense against Chris Paul was just amazing. Chris Paul had a lot of turnovers. He's choking this game away. If the Suns somehow end up pulling this out, which obviously I still have the Suns winning, but if they end up winning this the championship, I see a scenario where it's very likely that Devin Booker ends up winning the Finals MVP. Especially if Chris Paul definitely has to, especially after this game, he needs a major turnaround before really being considered for Finals MVP at this point. He'd have to have a major game because he didn't do much. He had like 5 or 6 turnovers. He shot 5 of 13 from the field, 0 of 2 from 3. He had 5 turnovers. There's just no way, as with Chris Paul being your 1A, 1B scoring and just main threats on this team, he cannot be doing that, especially when it's the biggest stage. We get that this is his first time in the finals, but we kind of expected him to step it up, which he played great those first 2 games, and it was up and down a little bit. Game 3, I don't feel like he played as well game 3 as people kind of gave him credit for. But game 4, hot garbage, and Devin Booker needed one person to step up on the Suns, just one extra person, because I think your next highest scoring, Jay Crowder was the next guy. He had 15 and 8. That was your next highest scoring behind Devin Booker, who had 42. So you needed one other guy who could have scored 20 plus in this game. And then if everybody else did exactly what they did, I think this game goes to Phoenix. For as bad as Phoenix played, I still have a lot of hope that they can win this series because they played bad and it was this close. It was a 6-point game. And Chris Middleton went off. Well, I haven't even gotten to that. Chris Middleton had a fantastic game. He had 40 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. His percentages aren't amazing when you look at it, but most of his shots came. He was hitting way more in the second half. So his percentages lack a little bit, but he did most of his damage towards the end of the game. So he overall had a fantastic game. And then Giannis, like I said, he had his normal thing. But who else? Pat Connaughton had hit some 2 shots that were super major. I think one of them either put the Bucks up or tied the game with the Suns. I don't remember which one, but he had 2 really critical shots at the end of the game. Brook Lopez with 14, Drew Holiday with 13, 7 and 7. Drew Holiday offensively was absolutely terrible. You can just say that he had a good game just because he obviously defensively he just brings so much and he harasses Chris Paul a lot. But this was kind of an up and down game. Devin Booker should have fouled out. The refs in this series, I shouldn't just say this series. this is kind of just overall just a problem. But the refs, there's so many bad calls that it's you can't even call them bad calls because they're just when they get the really bad ones are just super bad. So there's obviously the one non-call on Devin Booker. He fouled the hell out of Drew Holiday at the end. I mean, he wrapped him up essentially, and the refs just didn't call it. So I don't know how you solve stuff like that because it kind of does seem like the refs almost wanted to force, either make Phoenix win. While I don't think that's entirely true, I do think that, maybe they are trying to make a game a little closer than it needs to be. But regardless of them, the game was super close. Looking through my notes to make sure I didn't skip over anything. Giannis had 28. Obviously, Middleton, fantastic, fantastic. I want to make sure that I'm shouting out Chris Middleton enough. He had an amazing game. This was by far his best game of this series, and they won. And they won for it, but they only won by Milwaukee only won by 6. So Phoenix shouldn't be down while Milwaukee has the momentum going into Game 5. Phoenix has home court, and again, if one person steps up with D Book, and I don't know if Book's going to have another 40-point game or anything like that. It's hard to say, but one other guy steps up with Book, and this game's over. Even if Book fouls out at the end on Drew Holiday, I still think the Suns could end up winning this game, but. Book was in foul trouble. He had a lot of both teams had a lot of stupid fouls, including Giannis. But I think Giannis is getting a little tired. He had a big game, 2 and 3. So Game 4, I think obviously with only having 26, he pulled back a little bit because there's just no way you can sustain that again. So he had a couple little ticky tack fouls that he was just reckless. And Book had a couple of those too. One of them was on Giannis. He just grabbed him so he didn't go for the fast break transition bucket. It was just a lot of unnecessary fouls, lots and lots of just unnecessary things. Like, if you don't commit these little fouls, you can play harder at the end of the game because Book had to sit for a few minutes because he was in foul trouble. Just a lot of little different things that are just crucial in these. You need these opportunities. Oh, okay. I knew I was forgetting something. So Giannis, this could have definitely have been a little bit of a game changer, and it just obviously all depends on Giannis. But Giannis had 2 different drives at the end of this game, not the direct end, but sometime in like the second half of the fourth quarter, where he drove. The Suns intentionally fouled him, but he would pass the ball out. And so because he's passing the ball out, the refs obviously rule it as a non-shooting foul. But if he just throws the ball up, he's getting those free throws easy. And I mean, even if he makes 1 of 2 on both of those attempts, I won't lie. I don't remember because obviously with the foul, they would just inbound the ball. So I don't remember on both those possessions whether or not the Bucks ended up scoring or not. But let's assume that they didn't. Having, just being able to score at least 1 of those 2 free throws on both of those possessions, that's an extra 2 points, and this Bucks only won by 6. So, that could, that's the difference between a 6-point game and an 8-point game. That's a little bit more of a comfort zone. It's a whole extra possession that you'd have to run it just for the Suns just to catch up. So it's just little stuff like that. Giannis just needs to make sure he's thinking fully, but he's probably tired. He probably was gassed a little bit. So that's why you have somebody like Chris Middleton to step up. So Game 5's on Saturday, I think. So stay tuned for Game 5. Leave a like on the video. Like I said, I'd appreciate the subscription, trying to hit 500 subscribers. Share the video with anybody you think might enjoy this. And I appreciate it, everybody. Thanks.